Somewhere out there quietly, a machine is paying this man's bills. He does not clock in. He does not ask a boss. Every month, money simply arrives, and it arrives whether he works, sleeps, or does absolutely nothing at all. Most people spend their whole lives asking, how do I earn more? Almost nobody asks the quieter, stranger question, how do I build something that earns for me so that one day, my time stops being the thing I am forced to sell? There are only two ways to get paid in this life. You sell your hours, or you own something that pays you while you live your hours however you please. One trades time for money, the other quietly buys your time back piece by piece. It starts embarrassingly small. Your first dollar earned without working feels almost fake. A few cents from something you own arriving on their own. It is tiny. It is also the most important dollar of your life because it proves the machine is real. The machine is deliberately boring, no thrilling bets. No overnight stories, just ordinary money set aside again and again into things that quietly pay a little back. Boring is not the weakness of this plan. Boring is the entire engine of it. Here's the part nobody believes until they see it. The money the machine pays you, you feed straight back in. So it grows a little larger and pays a little more, which you feed back again. A snowball that packs itself quietly for years. And for years, it looks like nothing is happening. The jar fills slowly. Friends buy loud things and call it living. You keep feeding a machine that seems for a long and quiet while to be doing almost nothing at all. This is where most people quit. Then somewhere you cannot predict the machine turns. The monthly arrivals stop feeling like pocket change and start covering real things. A bill here, a week of groceries there, nothing dramatic. Just the quiet moment the numbers finally start doing visible work. You will never forget the first real bill the machine pays without you. You open the statement and it is already handled. Not by your salary, by the thing you built. For one quiet second and a piece of your life stopped depending on your labor. Then it pays the second bill, and the third. One by one, the machine quietly takes over the small, relentless costs that used to eat your paycheck. Each one it covers is one less reason you ever have to say yes to something you would rather refuse. Every machine like this has one quiet finish line. The month it covers everything. Rent, food, the ordinary costs of being alive. On that day, the math flips, and for the first time, your survival no longer requires you to trade a single hour for anyone. Notice this is not about being rich. It is about being free. You do not need a yacht. You need a machine quiet enough and steady enough that your bills are met without your permission. Rich is a number. Free is a morning that finally belongs to you. The hardest part is not building the machine. It is not touching it. For years you watch it grow and you leave it alone. Every time you resist rating it for something shiny, you are quietly choosing a free future over a comfortable afternoon. One day the whole market turns red and the machine's paper value falls. Your friends panic and dismantle theirs at the worst moment. You do nothing, because the machine was never about the price on the screen. It was about the quiet stream it keeps paying. Here is why the calm is earned, not reckless. A good machine is built from many small pieces, not one fragile bet. When some go quiet, others keep paying. It is a garden, not a lottery ticket, and gardens tended patiently tend to survive the winter. One honest warning spoken plainly. This is a story, not a promise. No machine pays forever with no risk, and anyone swearing it will is selling you something. The point is not a guarantee. The point is building slowly, spreading wisely, and never betting the roof. So picture the life the machine quietly buys. Not islands, mornings, the calm no. A Tuesday that belongs to you. The freedom to do work because you chose it, not because a bill was standing behind you the whole time tapping its foot. Nobody tells you that the machine changes you before it ever changes your bank. Somewhere in the boring years, you stop needing to prove anything. The quiet act of building something patient makes you calmer than any purchase ever could. So here's the quiet invitation. Start absurdly small. Build one boring piece of the machine, then another. Feed it what you can ignore the loud advice, and let ordinary money do the extraordinary, unglamorous work of quietly buying back your life. There are really only two moves with $1. You can own a piece of something that grows and pays, or you can lend it out and collect a steady trickle. The machine uses both. One swings for the fences slowly, the other just keeps the lights on. Run a simple test on the machine. How many of your small daily costs can it quietly cover? The coffee, the commute, the streaming bills. Each ordinary expense the machine adopts is one more tiny rope it silently cuts between you and the grind. Every time you feed the machine, you are quietly giving yourself a raise no boss can deny or take back. It is small at first, almost invisible, but it is yours completely, and unlike a salary, no one can lay it off, freeze it, or ask you to earn it twice. Think of the machine as an employee who never sleeps, never quits, and never asks for a day off. It works nights, weekends, holidays. It works while you are sick. You spend years training it, and then it spends decades quietly working for you. The machine thinks in decades while everyone else panics over days. A dollar you feed it now does almost nothing this year. But given 20 years, that same dollar quietly becomes several, and several becomes many. Time is the ingredient no shortcut can fake. If the machine has a single sacred rule, it is this: what it pays you early, you feed straight back. The temptation to spend those first arrivals is enormous, and giving in quietly cuts the engine in half. Reinvest and the same engine doubles instead. You had a friend who built a machine too, but he spent every dollar it paid the moment it arrived. Years later, his machine is exactly the size it started. Same effort, half the patience, none of the freedom. The difference was never income, it was restraint. The hardest habit to break is checking the price every day. Up, down, red, green. But the machine was never about the daily number on the screen. It was about the stream it pays. Watch the stream ignore the weather, and your nerves will thank you for years. Built well, the machine can outlive the builder. It can pay long after you stop and even pass to the people you love still quietly working. Most jobs end the day you do. Ownership, tended patiently, can keep paying into a future you will never even see. Somewhere in the boring years, your identity quietly shifts. You stop thinking only like a worker trading hours and start thinking like an owner who plants and waits. It is a small change in the mind that slowly changes everything the money is for. The exciting machines make the best stories and the worst results. The boring one, fed steadily and left alone, quietly beats them over a lifetime. Excitement burns bright and short, boring compounds. And in the end, boring is the one still standing in the room. The best machines run without your willpower. You automate the feeding, so it happens whether you feel rich, broke, or bored. Discipline you have to summon every month eventually fails. A system that moves on its own quietly is the one that survives your worst weeks. One more honest line: spread the machine across many small pieces and never bet the roof over your head on any single one. The goal is not the fastest possible growth. It is a machine steady enough to keep paying when one part inevitably has a very bad year. You might be thinking you started too late. Maybe you are 40, maybe 50. The best day was decades ago, and you cannot have it. But the second best day is quietly today, and a smaller machine started now still beats the perfect one you never begin. Understand what waiting actually costs. Every year you delay is not just a year of savings missed. It is a year of growth the machine will never get to compound. Waiting feels free. It is quietly the most expensive choice on the entire menu. And here's a gift few expect. A machine that covers you can quietly cover others too. A bill paid for someone with no name attached. Help sent from a stream that never misses you. Freedom, it turns out, is one of the few things worth quietly passing on. The goal was never an infinite machine. It was an enough machine, big enough to cover the life you actually want, and not one worry larger. Endless growth is just the old hunger wearing a new suit. Enough is where the quiet and the freedom finally live. Picture the first Monday the machine covers you completely. The alarm goes off and you simply let it ring. Nothing collapses. The bills are already handled. For the first time in your adult life, a Monday feels exactly like a Sunday, and no one had to give you permission. And here's the quiet twist. Most people who reach it do not stop working. They just stop being owned by it. They pick the project, the person, the pace. The machine did not buy them a hammock. It bought them the right to finally choose. In the end, the machine and the man grow together. It quietly funds his freedom. He quietly protects its patience. Neither could have made it alone. And that partnership, built one boring dollar at a time, is the closest thing to security this uncertain world offers. So ask yourself one honest question tonight. If a quiet machine could cover your bills in 10 years, would you rather start feeding it today, or spend one more decade selling every hour and quietly hoping the arithmetic somehow sorts itself out? Before a portfolio pays a bill, a budget has to stop leaking. That part is rarely shown because it is not cinematic. You look at what leaves each month. You decide which comforts are real and which are habits wearing expensive clothes. Then you create a small, repeatable amount to own instead of spend. It may be $20 at first. The number is not the lesson. The habit is. A machine cannot begin until there is something to feed it, and the first fuel almost always comes from a life made slightly quieter on purpose. The machine also has to survive a year that feels unfair. Markets can fall, income can pause, a repair can arrive at exactly the wrong time. This is why the story is not about chasing the highest possible payment. It is about building enough resilience that you do not have to break the machine the first time life becomes expensive. Keep some room, spread the risk. Do not bet the roof on a beautiful number. The quiet portfolio works because it is allowed to stay alive long enough for time to do its slow work. Even when the portfolio covers more work does not have to disappear. The difference is that work can become chosen. You can take the project you respect, reduce the hours that hollow you out, or leave the room that only keeps you through fear. That is a better picture of freedom than a dramatic exit. The goal is not to do nothing forever. The goal is to stop selling every hour under pressure. A small income stream cannot buy your whole life overnight, but it can buy back one decision at a time. Eventually, the most useful question changes. Not how fast can this grow, but what does enough need to cover? A life with a lower burn rate needs a smaller machine. A life built to impress strangers needs a giant one. That is why quiet wealth begins with definition. Name the bills that matter. Name the time you want back. Let the number be honest, not heroic. Then build slowly toward it without promising certainty. The portfolio is not magic. It is a patient agreement between your present restraint and your future ability to choose. It helps to be honest about what the machine cannot do. It cannot guarantee a return. It cannot erase every hard year. It cannot turn a small deposit into instant freedom, and anyone who says otherwise is selling excitement instead of resilience. What it can do is change the direction of your life when you give it time, attention, and sensible limits. You learn to own a little more and depend on each paycheck a little less. You build the habit before the scale. You keep some cash for the storms so you do not destroy a long plan during a short panic. You learn that a bill covered by something you own feels different because it is evidence, not a promise. The portfolio does not need to be dramatic to matter. It only needs to keep becoming more useful than it was last year. One grocery run, one utility bill, one choice you can make without fear. Those are small victories, but they are real. Build toward them quietly. Hold the roof above the plan and let the years do the part nobody can rush. Start with the next useful bill, not a fantasy number. Let the habit cover one ordinary cost, then let patience make the next choice easier. The proof arrives quietly, less dependence, more room, and a future that no longer begins from zero every month.